This is the May 8th, 2024 meeting of the Historic Preservation Commission. And would you take a roll call, please?
Yes. Member Church?
Here.
Member McGuire?
Here.
Member Minor?
Here.
And Chair Bergman.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum.
Okay, good. Our first order of business is to take a look at the minutes. Has everybody read the yellow sheets in our package?
Yes.
Put this down. Okay, any changes, any alterations? If not, can I get a motion to accept the minutes?
I move that we accept.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we have minutes. Okay, at this point, we asked for consideration of non-agenda items and visitors. I don't see any visitors. I don't know that we have any non-agenda items. How about on the Zoom call? Is that,
No, we don't have anyone.
we don't have anybody on the Zoom call, so we will pass on item 3. And that brings us to an advisory review for 673 Maple Avenue, which is the home of Rob Douglas. Let's see, this is just an advisory review, right?
It is just an advisory review, that is
Okay,
correct.
good.
And I'm trying to get his floor plan shared up here, but you guys should have copies.
That's the handout that was
Yeah.
here at our space, at our
Yeah, there's
tables?
a floor plan and then also elevations.
Okay, good. All right. Where should we start? Rob, would you like to start us off? Give us a little background on what you're proposing?
Well, good evening. Yeah, I think what triggered the reason to come forward here is that we did a variance for a front yard setback variance a couple of years ago. Then COVID hit, everything kind of got turned upside down. I'm finally moving forward with that construction. But there is a change that we're doing here, and that's adding another 8 feet to the front of the existing garage, so we can accommodate 2 more vehicles in there. There is no front yard setback, but as you can see on the plan in the lower right-hand corner of the garage, that is an area which is under discussion about a variance with the PCZBA, but more importantly, that area, the shaded reddish area going up to the area near the front door, that is the enlargement of the garage. Currently, well, the building is set up on 8-foot on center beams. So it's basically a post and beam building. Then the walls are infilled either with glass or with brick. In this case here with the garage, the existing garage has 2 8-foot bays and then a half bay, so making it 20 feet deep. It has a 4-foot overhang across the front of the garage. We would enclose that, and then with the 8-foot module, take it out 1 more 8-foot module to the south. So that's the change that's occurring from the building when it was proposed and designated by the Historic Preservation Commission as a landmark home. So that is really, I think, probably the primary reason why we're here, is because of that alteration. On the elevations, you can see some bubbling, and that's really identifying with the colored areas new brick. We've done some interior changes to the house as far as moving the kitchen farther to the south, hence the drawing E. That shows you where the kitchen is. Those large windows is right where the sink is, and then we slid it all down. So it's also an area where the house, I guess, pretty close to the corner So to help privatize the space, we just had transom windows up above that area. So, I don't know, maybe I should point it up here. I'm referring to, right here.
Yep.
The existing house actually ends here, and then it's got that bustle on the end of it. That's being removed, and then this is the new bay that's getting built. This is being rebuilt, because this addition was done in the early 80s, and it looks like it was a monolithic trench pour, being that you're pouring foundation and slab at the same time. Hence, there's no thermal break in there. It's freezing in the winter, and it's 100% in the summer, so it's really a problem. So what we're doing is then actually extending more basement underneath it, so we can really get it conditioned properly. So, but those bubbles are just showing compositional changes to the elevations. This is where the garage portion is extending out. This is where the open air cover to the front of the garage is. We're going to put a window unit here with spandrel panels. We found some brick we feel is very close to matching, but I'm trying to make sure that, like in this case, if the two bricks don't touch, then it'll be a little easier to work with. But if you're matching up exactly, then we got to do a whole bunch of other things. But
Rob?
I
There
guess
you go.
I was not being heard by the people.
Well,
It's
that's
just
for the recording.
Oh, the
Yeah.
recording, yeah. But this is the area of the garage addition being done. This is going to be an enclosed area now from what was, or is currently an open air 4-foot projection. We are going to, I believe, improve the garage front by taking the brick around the corner on both sides, and then using a standard garage size. It's a 17-foot door, which makes it a little bit expensive, so we thought, well, let's get an 18-foot in there. And then what I want to do is expose the 4x14 beams that go across here, and really help reinforce the horizontal characteristics of this mid-century modern house. But that's really the primary area that we've done, pulling this forward, and here it is on the side. And then when you go around the corner, where actually these transoms exist, but we're going to be filling in brick here. We're moving brick down below here and then filling this in with brick with a new construction. Otherwise, it's, we're just trying to take it back to its original 1954 characteristics. And I'm here to answer any questions.
You came before us, I think pre-COVID, for putting the kitchen addition on the house, or the southern living addition.
Correct. The south end, that was approved with a zoning variance for the front yard setback. It's basically going to take off that 1980s, early 80s wood, I don't know, I'd call it a bustle.
A lean-to.
Well, it's singing a different tune. It's not really reflecting what the character of the house is. So we'll absorb it into this rebuild, and I think that wall is, the south end of the wall is extending, I believe, I can't remember the exact dimension, but it's just a slight bit beyond the southern edge of that bustle on the south end.
Probably 9 or 10 feet, something like that.
No, it's going to be less than 2 feet.
Okay.
But it's picking up on the 8-foot module of the beams and just continuing it. So what's going to be great about the interior is we're then going to have exposed, I think, I got to count it out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these 4x14 beams across the ceiling. So As a architect I used to work for years ago, he would always talk about the power of repetition, and having that repetitive element is going to really make that space really pop.
And those are all in redwood?
Doug fir.
Okay, are the original beams in the house redwood?
Nope, no, they're Doug fir.
Really? Okay.
And I did find a mill in Bear Creek Lumber in Oregon who can mill these beams. Yeah, it's not exactly common material these days.
Not anymore.
It's gonna cost more to ship it than it is to buy them, is what it's gonna come down to, but that's what it needs to be.
Good. Okay. I suppose,
I do have one quick question. You mentioned the house was built in 1954. You wanted to get back to its 1954 level. On your on the memorandum here, it says 57.
Or 57, yeah. The drawings, I think, are dated 54, 55.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so,
Curious.
actually, I was going to interject that I should probably, means of fair disclosure, explain that my father built this house, designed this house, and designed it in 1954. I believe the house was finished in 1955. And so, just so that everybody understands, I have
yeah.
an interest or an affinity for this house. I don't think that's going to affect the decision-making, but if anybody wants to object to my participation, you can do so now. But as far as I know, the house was designed in 54 and finished in 55.
And
So,
when we went for the first, or actually when we did the, getting the designation from Historic Preservation, actually, I still have those in files showing the different phases this house went through, from the original design to the 80s modification, and then to what we're doing. I have those in my archives. I didn't bring them with me, but yeah, I've been able to delineate the history. I mean, there were some really great features on the original design. It had a breezeway going from the house to the garage. The garage was freestanding, and it had these angled louvers, vertical louvers. But that all got infilled in the 1980s. So, but I have kind of picked up that characteristic in some of the details of the stair going to the basement and things of that nature. But you can't save everything from its original, but we're certainly picking up on a lot of its, most powerful elements to it. And, mid-century modern is something that is, it's fun stuff.
it's very popular at the moment.
Sure is.
People do want it. I might add, I did do a house tour last summer down in Flossmoor,
Wow.
Homewood Flossmoor area, and there were some amazing buildings down there. Now, whatever happened, a lot of them got torn down here, but down there, they've kept them. And I've never been to Flossmoor, but it was a great trip.
Great trip. Sounds like fun. I should remind all of us that we went through a long process of modifying our historic preservation ordinance to allow us to have a certain amount of flexibility in recommending changes like this that bump up against the zoning code, where we feel that an addition or an alteration to a house that has a zoning component to it, that we can specifically recommend that we're in favor of that because it protects the integrity of the historic nature of the house. And so,
Just one clarification on that. We originally thought that a variance would be required. It still may be, but there is a possibility that a variance would not actually be required. There's a section of our code that says a certain setback is required. However, there's specific language that grants an exception, and we're exploring if this will meet that exception, so.
great, that's good news. I didn't understand that from reading the package, so.
New information.
New information, okay, good. So,
And the position of this house really doesn't encroach on any other property that's neighboring it, because you've got the ravine
on the one side and the other house is pretty far away.
Actually, it sits at the Y of two ravines. So there's two arms of the North Avenue ravine that come up. One has gotten infilled and has a house across the way from it now, but it actually sits on a Y-shaped piece of property. So, yeah. And I can say this time of year, it's a very lovely house to sit in and stare out the window, so.
Well, 60% of the lot is in the ravine. So we got a lot of air rights. But, yeah, the ravine really kind of actually surrounds three sides. So it's great to be right here in town, but when you step into the back, especially when the foliage comes out, you're not in town anymore. So it's quite unique. And we're hoping to have this, well, trades are really busy right now, and I feel like I'm chasing them to try to give me their final numbers so we can get this thing going. So, and maybe someday it'll be on that holiday,
Holiday
Lake
home
Forest
tour.
or Lake Bluff Museum.
Oh, you have just stepped
Oh,
into big
we are,
trouble
we are
now.
looking forward to that.
We're never gonna let you go from that.
Well, it'll have Dean Martin music going in there. It'll have that whole kind of 60s, 50s vibe.
Okay.
So,
One clarification, the existing garage has an overhang right now.
correct, on the south elevation.
When you pull that garage forward, will the new addition have the same type of overhang?
No, no.
So that's just gonna be a flush wall?
Well, with I think 10, 12-inch soffit and fascia.
Okay.
That's one of the problems the original garage has, that there is no overhang on the west and north sides, and so water comes right down the face of the brick, and it does have a projection as you go farther over the front door area and going toward the main part of the house, and we were just gonna pull that around so that it has continuity, and at the same time, protects the building better.
So it'll have some form of like an eave sticking out?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it's hard to see it on these drawings from here, but
Yeah.
if you look at, the drawing D, the west building elevation, in that bubble, you can see the overhang.
Right.
Right next to the chimney, as you go to the right, you can then see a 4x14 beam there, and then that's the projection. It's a very shallow projection. The back of the building has a 4-foot overhang, that is on the east side, and the rest of the house has a shallower projection. So actually, what I learned with another project, I guess technically, those eaves would count into the bulk of the building, but we can build over 6,000 square feet here, so that's not a problem. We don't have the land to do it. So,
You don't have the tableland?
right,
No.
but, no, that overhang would go away.
Okay. Thoughts? Questions? Things that you're curious about?
It looks to me like this is going to be an improvement to the front facade of the house. So I'm all for that.
So, okay, any other thoughts? No? Okay, what are our options here?
You would be able to terminate the advisory review, stating that it is consistent with the criteria for changes, and I apologize, the example motion says not consistent.
No, it says
Sorry,
not-
it
not-
says not inconsistent.
Not inconsistent, so we
So
get
you
into,
can stick with that wording, I
So-
suppose.
she's going to law school, she's practicing her double negatives, so.
Or you can continue the review, if you need more information or if you think that the work is inconsistent.
Okay. What do we think? Do we have any objections to what we're looking at, what we're seeing tonight?
Oh, I like it, so I would move that we terminate the review.
So.
Do you want me to read the whole thing?
So you have moved that we terminate the review? All right, can I get one of you to second that?
We'll be happy to.
Janie seconds that, okay. Do we need to take a roll call vote, or,
That's a good question. Let's do it just to be safe.
okay? We'll take a roll call vote.
Okay, Member Church,
Aye.
Member McGuire,
Aye.
Member Minor,
Aye.
and Chair Bergman.
Aye.
All right.
Okay.
Passes.
You
Okay.
have,
Well, thank you.
you have our
It's gonna be
blessing,
beautiful.
Well,
so,
Yeah.
you know, as
And,
I say, COVID messed up so many things across the board, and including construction.
We're still
so-
digging out of COVID,
But
so.
now you'll have a better garage as a result, so.
Well, this will help accommodate my father-in-law, so, yeah, which, you know, we're all dealing with
you're
aging
gonna learn
parents
about,
now,
you're
so.
gonna learn about the joys of having a tandem garage. So, somebody's always gotta be moving a car.
Well, no,
Yeah.
it won't be a problem. It'll be a negotiation, but sometimes,
Uh-huh.
well, main thing is, there are two cars are primary, two cars are not, so those will be the ones. in the
I'm just pulling your leg,
Oh,
Bob.
I know, it's, leave it to
Okay.
family to figure that
Rob,
out.
thank you for your presentation.
Sure thing. Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks. Okay, I don't have much of a commissioner's report. We haven't had a lot of business recently. We're trying to drum up some business as always, so we're always looking for other projects. And so if you know someone who is just into a new old house or is thinking about working on their house or something, please let the rest of us know, and maybe we can talk them into landmarking their house. So that's about all I have. Do you have any words of wisdom for us tonight?
Well, just an update. Member Liebolt was up for reappointment, and he asked to not be considered at this point. He wanted to basically retire. So that is just one update. So we are down to 5 members at this point, which can create some quorum issues sometimes, but we will keep an eye on that and figure out if there are some other members that we might be looking into. The only other update I have is that we're working with Lake Forest staff on setting up another Saturday camp training session.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
Focused on preservation topics, and they're kind of planning maybe October or November, doing that on a Saturday.
Of this year? We're able to get the camp people to come this year?
That's what it sounds like.
Oh, that's tremendous.
Yeah.
Okay. There is a national,
The sooner we get a date for that, the better.
Absolutely, and we'll let you know as soon as we have more information on that.
there is a National Association of Preservation Commissioners, National Association of us. And they do all sorts of neat things. I don't know that we've circulated their propaganda material recently, but they have a really cool website of, a really cool blog about constant issues that come up in the preservation field. And they also, one of the other things they have is a traveling group of experts who come and put on what's called the camp meeting presentation. It's about a half day long. I went through it probably 10 years ago, and it's a superb training, it's a superb day of training. I'll let you explain about it if you'd like.
Yeah, we're still looking at selecting the specific topics, but basically they have a list. I think it was like 14 different trainings that they can provide, and we're able to pick 5 of those that are kind of most relevant. Some are more introductory, and then
Yeah.
some are more advanced or on current topics, but it seems like a really worthwhile training.
One of the things that's neat is it gives you sort of a national perspective of what preservation boards are doing. One of the modules we went through was how to be a good board member. What you can do, what sort of external work you can do, and what sort of external work you shouldn't be doing. which is kind of a nice little road guide for that. And then how to comport yourself in a board meeting, and just sort of little etiquette things like that. And then the last half of the meeting was a drill process of, they would tape up on the wall an example of a request that had come from a city. You'd be given the city's rules and guidelines for that, and then you were to look at the existing building and the proposed building, read the guidelines, and make a decision on how we felt that particular city should rule on this particular issue. And it was really neat to go through about 10 different examples of that on a very fast, do it fast and quick basis. And it gave you sort of a nice fluidity in being part of the process. So I'm really excited to hear that. I think
Yeah.
that's great. So that'll be great. That's in September, you think?
October or early November.
Okay.
So they're still trying to pin down a date, but once we have more information, we
I
will.
will be deviling all of you to be there, so that will be very cool. So that's it?
That's all I
Okay.
have for now, yeah.
Any word on what's going on at Stonebridge?
As far as I know, still
No action?
nothing, no
Okay.
action.
All right. Well, good. Well, at that point, then, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Second?
A second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any objections?
No.
Okay,
It's a beautiful day outside.
and we're out of here at 7:30, so.
Wow.